Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever time it is for you out there. Thank you for joining me. So, it's another day in this reality of ours, and there's been quite a few interesting things going on. And as I have not been reading very consistently as of late, I wanted to kind of touch on a few things that I've noticed that have been going on, and then maybe this reading will have something to do with it. Maybe it won't, actually. We'll see. But as I was going about my day, I had been just kind of thinking about how things have been going so far this summer, as far as I can tell, right? So, I also wanted to kind of take some time to, I don't know, maybe talk a little bit about my own circumstances, my own reality a little bit, because, as things are going on outside in the larger world, of course, we all have our own things going on inside our own little reality bubbles, as I like to call them, in our own little worlds here. So, something that happened to me recently, and actually one of the reasons I haven't been posting so much, is because I have been kind of in the middle of rearranging my house. And it kind of came about unexpectedly because, so I've lived in my place for a little while, but it is not um, a permanent place. It could be a permanent place. It's just not a place that I actually chose to live in. It was found for me, and I appreciate the place, actually. It's a cute little spot. It's got what I need for the most part, more or less. I like my neighborhood and everything. It's fine. It's fine. It's doing what it's supposed to do. It's got walls. It's got a roof. It keeps us warm and dry and everything. It's definitely missing some important components that I wish I had. But one thing is that I didn't really have a whole lot of furniture and decoration in my house because, as I said, I'm not really planning on staying here for a very long term. Eventually, I hope to move on to a new place that is better suited for my needs. Hopefully within this year. I don't know if that's going to happen. So something that I had been kind of avoiding is like really putting a whole lot in the house because I don't want to deal with moving a whole bunch of stuff when I'm ready to leave. The place serves its purpose, but I was just thinking, as long as it's relatively cute and functional, it's fine, whatever. And so, in thinking about the next space and what I'd like to have in it, I'm really into interior design. So, I did buy some things for this place just to keep it a little bit cute. I don't want it like a place that I don't want to be in. So it's got its cute little decors and things like that. As you can see, my little setup here on the table. I move these things around my house and just make my house as cute as I can. But one thing that I had been thinking about is like, how do I want to decorate the next place? What kinds of things do I want in it? And so I had been looking around on eBay and some different websites over the last few weeks because I really love vintage things. And while looking at some possible like lamps and wall decor and tables and chairs and stuff, I came across these like vintage bamboo furnitures, and they were really cute, and so I saved them on my eBay list. Or actually, no, I don't think I saved them, but I remembered them and I had been thinking about them. And something really funny that happened is literally that same day, my partner went outside to go to the store and came back to the house and said, "Hey, one of the neighbors down the street has some bamboo furniture outside, and it looks like they're going to throw it in the trash. Do you want to go see it? And I was like, okay, sure, let's go look at it. And I went to look at this furniture, and it is so cute, and we went and picked it up immediately. So I just acquired this perfect bamboo furniture that was in the same similar style that I had just seen earlier that day on eBay. And then another thing that happened is that I acquired a cabinet, same situation. Um, we've been needing a extra cabinet space, and the cabinet that I want, we have to order it online, and so we hadn't gotten around to doing that. And just the other day, again, my partner goes outside and comes back and tells me, hey, there's a cabinet outside. And he shows me a picture of it, and I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. Bring it home, like right now. So he did. And so now we've got this like very useful cabinet that I've been really needing. And so I've been like rearranging the furniture in my house because we just acquired all this furniture all of a sudden within the past like few days or a week or so, or whatever the case may be, and some other things. But the furniture was just really funny because it literally happens like on the same day in the case of that bamboo furniture. And so my house has gotten cuter, and and so I am just really pleased with that. But another thing is that, as I had been saying, I haven't been posting very much, and we had been talking, my partner and I, about, certain goals and things that we have, as far as doing our business and, working on the house and things like that. And something I said to him was, we need to live our lives. Like, we have these big goals and all these things that we want to do, but we really haven't been living a life. We've been like managing all these various situations, and things have just been kind of up and down and all over the place for a little while, and we're getting settled into our place, but we have a lot more things that we need to do and need for the house, and just in general, like we just need to enjoy our lives, right? And so that theme has been kind of major in my reality, just like enjoying my house and just making my life, you know, making my life the way that I have always kind of wanted it. And so it's only been quite recently that I have been able to just kind of appreciate my space. It's been, very simple in that all I like to do most days is just wake up, make my coffee, do whatever cleaning needs to be done, organizing and that kind of thing. But I've been just kind of doing that for the past week or so, and I just realized, I am really enjoying that. I haven't even been doing like my business things lately, and I need to get back to them, and I guess eventually I will, but it just occurred to me that I have just been truly appreciating the quality of my life lately. And so, with that said, I really hope that that has been true for you out there, collective. I've talked in some previous readings about the collective having been very productive, very creative, and just getting a lot of really important things done in our realities. And so I hope as this time has continued for you, I was going to say it's this summer, but as time has gone on for you in whatever timeline you're on, maybe you'll see this reading and it won't be summertime anymore as it is right now for me. So, I hope that you have been in the same kind of energy, enjoying your space, especially making your life and most importantly, your home environment what you like it to be. So I think I just wanted to get that out of the way. I felt like I needed to talk about that a little bit because, we have our things going on in the background, and it's important to acknowledge that while we have so many goals that we may want to achieve, right? Like I was talking about being productive and being creative, we can't really do those things successfully or with any sense of purpose if our lives, our home environment is not what we feel it needs to be, right? And of course, living in a reality such as this, this matrix does its utmost to sabotage our lives and our experience, right? Another thing that happened to us recently, my partner and myself, we've just had people in our lives who have done some serious damage, or they've tried to do some damage. And that's not to say that things have not been damaged by certain people's actions or inaction in some cases, but there have been people who have done things that have caused a lot of problems, right? And the same is true just on a larger sense. A lot of people out there, individuals, just have a lot of malicious intent, right? And in this reality, I feel that is really just the purpose of these beings, these individuals, these NPCs, as we like to call them these days, right? Like their sole purpose in their miserable lives is to just cause misery and issues for other people, right? And so I hope that you in your reality have gotten above any nonsense and bullshit that people have been trying to throw at you. I know that I feel that I've gotten a bit of a better handle on my own personal situation, and I'm just feeling really good in this time. So with all that said, let me go ahead and get into the reading. I've been pretty curious about what's been going on with the collective lately. My readings have been kind of back and forth, dealing with kind of the bigger picture, and I've been sensing that I need to kind of bring things down to our personal lives. So I'm going to try and do that here today. So I'm going to go ahead and start pulling cards, and let's see what is our personal situation looking like for the collective as of late. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we've got the dragonfly and pansy balance, and I'm laughing because at this point, if you've seen any of my readings, if you've been kind of following along with my readings, then you know I've just gotten this card in the past 2 readings. And so here it is out here in the reverse, and I'm not even going to say anything about it right now. You know what? I'm just going to continue pulling, and then we'll get to that. Oh my God. Stagnation. Lizard and pitcher plant. I'm laughing because here it is again. Cards that I've already pulled. All right, let's see what the third one is. The skunk and the magnolia, protection. Okay. All right, so you know what? I think I've got a handle on this. So I had just been talking about, people in our personal realities, our personal lives, just making it a point to cause issues in our lives, okay? We've had to deal with people in the past here just throwing things off in our lives, just making a mess of things, causing all kinds of just unnecessary issues, right? Have we not? These people have attempted to cause stagnation in our lives, and as you know, I talk about colonization and especially racism and white supremacy. I haven't really said too much, I don't think, about racism and white supremacy. So I'm going to relate this reading to that right here and now. Because for those of us who have to live in a reality in which we experience racism, right, this is a daily experience for us. When we are trying to achieve things, there is a system deliberately put in place for the purpose of keeping us down, for causing imbalance in our lives, and for causing stagnation in our lives so that we cannot achieve things, okay? Our ancestors, again, in the past, had no ability to do anything with their lives. They had to deal with whether it was slavery, whether it was redlining, even if they were free people, they still did not have the same opportunities being given to the so-called white race at the time that I'm talking about, you know. And even today in the modern times, we have more opportunities than our ancestors, but you know, we still have to experience a good deal of BS in this reality. And even outside of racism, I'm still going to call it racism because one thing that I understand about racism is, for one, it doesn't always come from white people, right? We know that people can be racist within their own communities. I'm talking about black people. There's racism in the black community. There's racism from other groups, the Asians, the Latinos. I don't know why other groups have slipped my mind, but I think it's also because there's been a lot showing up in my reality about Asians and Latinos. I think I'll get to that here in a moment. But, you know, we experience racism from people that are even supposed to be like our relatives, right? Like I just named Asians and Latinos. These groups of people are supposed to be our brothers and sisters, or our distant cousins, maybe in some senses, maybe. But as far as I have understood, these people are supposed to be our close relatives, brothers and sisters, as I said before. And in my own personal experience, I have experienced some of the nastiest treatment from people that I trusted to be like my friends, right? Like people that I loved or thought I loved dearly, okay? And so, again, collective, we in the past were dealing with people that we trusted even, okay? Not even strangers who just flipped the script on us, right? We thought that we were in balance. We thought that we were in harmony with these people. We were loving people, giving them all this positive, wonderful energy, okay? But they just turned the whole situation topsy-turvy, upside down, and just showed us their behinds, okay? People that we really, really wanted to build with, okay? People that we really wanted to move forward in our lives with, people that we wanted to create things with, okay? So it's not just racism, it's also just personal people in our lives who are haters even, okay? People in our lives who are jealous or afraid or ignorant, whatever excuses they have. They came into our lives and decided they were going to, instead of supporting us, instead of being friends and family to us as we assumed we were supposed to be, right? They came and decided, you know what? I'd rather cause stagnation in that person's life, okay? I'd rather cause them to fall into a trap here, okay? That's what I'd rather do, okay? Instead of being a brother, a sister, a mother, a father, a friend, okay? They decided, I'm gonna be your enemy in this situation and cause you any kind of problem that I can, all right? But the beautiful thing about all this here, okay, we have at the end the protection card, right? Why? Because collective, you and I know that we are protected from that nonsense, okay? We're not dealing with that. We don't have time for that. We cut all that mess off. I've talked about that in some previous readings. So, need I say more, okay? We're not dealing with that BS, okay? I talked about being really just happy with where things are in my situation right now. I'm pleased with it. Is it everything it needs to be? No, it's not. It's not perfect, okay? It is what it is, though, and it's far better than what it was when we were dealing with the bullshit we were dealing with before, when we were trying to keep hanging on to people in our lives that we tried to love, and it just wasn't working out. So you know what? We said, you know what? You got to go. You've got to get out of here. You being in my life is not a benefit to me, okay? And I can't move forward in my life. You see the skunk here, how it's facing forward. This thing over here is facing down. This thing is facing the other direction, but this skunk here in this situation is facing forward. I can't move forward in my life with all this nonsense over here going on, okay? It's just not gonna work, all right? And so, I've talked about this card in so many previous readings. You've got to go see them. Even many years ago when I first started doing this, if you go look on my TikTok, I believe this is probably the first reading I ever did. And I talk about how this lizard in the pitcher plant, the thing that I love about this card is this card talks about how a lizard has the ability to drop its tail and get the heck up out of this situation, okay? So while these people thought they were putting you in a trap, what they didn't understand was I can cut this tail off, okay? I don't need this. I'll grow another one, all right? But I guarantee you, I'm getting up out of this trap. Bye-bye. I'm not going to be stuck here with you and your nonsense, all right? I'm moving on. I'm protected here. And even though taking that step may have been scary or difficult, challenging, absolutely challenging, okay? It wasn't an easy decision to make in a lot of our lives to cut off people that we loved and trusted. And in other cases, it was absolutely an easy choice. It wasn't always people in our lives that we loved and trusted. In some cases, it was strangers or people we just didn't really vibe with like that anyway. And it wasn't necessarily a difficult decision, but it wasn't an easy transition, moving away from the life that we thought we were going to have, living and existing in the same reality as those other people, these mess makers over here, okay? So we said, you know what, I'm gonna go off on my own path here. Oh my God, I'm laughing because it's just so funny. I'm thinking about my own situation. It is absolutely true. We thought to ourselves, you know what? I'm just going to go off my own way and I'm just going to see what happens, right? Like, I'm just going to trust that this is going to work out. But I do know that whatever happens, it's got to be better than this. It's got to be better than dealing with this. And I know that in my situation, it has been better than dealing with this. Okay? We are feeling so much more safe. We are protected. We are in our safe spaces. I've talked about that before. We've made our homes safe. We've made our environments safe. If you have kids, you're making your children safe. You're making your bank account safe, okay? And in this case, I'm talking about, so many people have tried to steal from us, have stolen from us, have caused us to lose opportunities, all kinds of things that these people have come into our lives and done, okay? I'm not going to talk too much about my own personal experiences right here and now because I don't want this reading to get too long, but it is true that people have caused issues that are major in our lives, okay? I'm not talking little stuff. I'm talking stuff that requires probably some jail time, okay? Probably some lawsuits, all right? That's what I'm talking about. These people deserve to be put in jail. These people deserve to get their asses whooped, okay? And it's coming to them because they were over here doing things not even for no reason. In some cases, just being straight up haters, being fools, being immature, just being losers, okay? And so, we are in our safe space now. We don't have to worry about these fools anymore. We cut all that off. The collective has come to a place of spiritual maturity where we have determined that it is not worth our sanity and our energy to be dealing with anybody else's BS, and especially in terms of racism. Okay, I'm gonna bring this back to this bigger picture because there's been a lot going on. Okay, since the most recent presidential administration, I'm talking about Trump now. It's the year 2026, so whenever you see this reading, it may be some time in the future, right? Maybe Trump won't be in office anymore. I don't know. So, ever since Trump got into office, there's been all kinds of craziness going on, okay? We've had the ICE detention raids and all kinds of things like that going on. Most recently, we've had the situation with Rick Chow being given a not guilty sentence in the shooting of a young child. I don't like to say children's names. These are not my children, and I'm not going to speak on other people's children, okay? But being basically let off the hook for killing a young black child. Another young black child apparently in some mysterious circumstances turning up no longer with us after going on a trip with some white people. And I was also going to mention with that situation with Rick Chow, the result of this being that what is called the black diaspora is now saying, you know what, no more. We are not dealing with this nonsense anymore. These people have refused to acknowledge the imbalance of justice in this situation. You have children losing their lives while grown adults get away with it. And that's true in any situation. That's not just racism. That's true in other places too, okay? So we don't even have to relate that to racism. That is absolutely true amongst the white race, the Asian race, the Latinos, and all kinds of other people deal with that. They're abusing children and getting away with it, okay? They're causing issues in other people's lives and getting away with it, okay? And we, as a group of people, the black diaspora, we're a different breed, okay? We are not like these other people, all right? While many people are being oppressed in this white supremacist, racist colonization context, we seem to be the only group that's willing to have any sense of strength and integrity, okay? Yeah, we have our bad seeds and our bad apples too. We all do. We all live in a situation that is egregious for all people. So why do I even need to say that we have our own bad seeds? Yeah, we have our own bad seeds. You know why? Because the race of people who has been enslaving and oppressing all of us for 500 plus years made it so that we have bad apples and bad seeds, okay? They made the monsters out of us. They made us savages, okay? So that's irrelevant. The point is, as a whole diaspora, we seem to be the only group of people that has any fight in us, okay? Like this skunk here, all right? The skunk is a small creature. It's not the strongest creature, okay? It's not a bear, it's not a wolf, it's not a shark. But what the skunk does have is a defense mechanism so that if you run up on that skunk, you're not gonna be happy about it once it sprays you with that nasty toxic spray that comes out of it, okay? And that is how the black diaspora is. We don't seek to be a kind of people who are overly vicious or overly savage. We have our moments, but really really try to be a humble, dignified people. But that doesn't mean that we don't have any fight left in us. Okay, so while everybody else is playing the oppression Olympics out here, especially with the Trump administration causing so many issues, causing harm to different communities, especially with this immigration issue, you've got all kinds of people being affected by this. But you have certain groups, especially because the Latino community tends to be upheld as the kind of poster child for immigration issues in a certain sense here in the United States. And you've got the Asian community apparently upset about this boycott of the stores. I didn't even get around to saying that. I was getting ready to mention that. You've got this now apparent boycott of the Asian community in certain areas of their stores, their salons, their restaurants, their businesses, so forth and so on, whatever the case may be. Because the Black community is fed the heck up with all of these people, not just white people, with everybody. Okay, we're fed the hell up with everybody. The collective has said, you know what, if you all want to go over there and act a gosh darn fool, you can go do that by yourselves. We're going to go over here and go live in our little corner and be unbothered by you and your dumb shit. All right, so collective, you have done an excellent job here of putting your foot down and saying no more. No more to the racist nonsense, no more to the individual nonsense that goes on in your individual life, no more. And I am so proud of us, collective. We are out here killing it. I talked about how we have been productive, creative, and I'm seeing here, even though you've got this kind of negative situation going on here with the imbalance and the stagnation that was going on, you're coming out of that, all right? There's this neutral color in the background of all of these cards here, this beautiful creamy oatmeal kind of color. And that color says to me that on your foundation is good. Your foundation is solid. There may be things shuffling around, moving around. You got to deal with some nonsense here. You got to deal with some nonsense there. But for the most part, you've got it all handled. You've got it all under control. Because you have learned to protect your energy, you have learned to protect your heart, you have learned that you do not owe anybody anything, and you have also learned that while white supremacy and racism has been this burden that has been thrown upon us, we are now in a place where we can address this situation the way it should have been addressed like 500 years ago, okay? Our ancestors did not have the option of addressing the situation like you're supposed to, okay? They couldn't defend themselves here, okay? There was no getting out of the trap here. They were stuck in the situation they were in, and that was it for the most part, okay? They had to take heavy risks in order to get out of those situations in many cases, okay? Escaping plantations or escaping difficult lives even. Maybe if it wasn't even just a plantation, maybe just moving from one place to another. These things were dangerous, okay? Dangerous for our ancestors. And they had no protection in most cases, okay? All they had was the faith that they could find deep within their souls that there is a purpose for this crap. There is a God somewhere who had a purpose for this, and for one reason or another, we've got to go through this, we've got to survive through this, but we're going to come out on the other side of this, and we're going to understand why it was. Our ancestors fought hard to make sure that they gave us a chance in this reality, okay? Many people didn't have an option as to whether or not they could bring children into this reality, okay? And many of us are the result of that inability to choose, right? Many of us here were born in circumstances in which our parents or grandparents may not have had a choice, okay? And so now we are in a space where we are energetically protected. We as a community have awakened, right? They love to use that word woke and throw it back at us in this political weird way. Okay, but that is our word. When we woke up, we realized, you know what? We can now do what our ancestors could not do in the past. All right, we can put our feet down and say no now. We can turn around and fight somebody if we absolutely have to. Okay, do we love doing that? No. In most cases, we really try to keep the peace and really try not to get things escalated. Okay, but now if somebody steps to us, they're getting shut down real quick. Okay, they're finding out real quick you're messing with the wrong one, and we don't give a crap if you're supposedly oppressed. Okay, that's another thing. You've got a lot of different people in these groups who think that they're being oppressed, okay, or they are being oppressed. It's not that they're not being oppressed, they are being oppressed, but they somehow still manage to do things to us even when we're in situations when we're supposed to be working together. Okay, we're supposed to be helping each other, and meanwhile they're over here doing things that make no sense in the context, but yet crying that they're victims and that they're oppressed. Okay, we're saying no more to any of that either. Whatever it is that you've got to deal with in your own personal situation, that's on you now. Okay, the collective is moving on. We're moving past that. So I think that that is a really excellent place to end this. I am extremely proud of the collective and how you have grown in this reality, okay, because it has not been easy. It was not easy for our ancestors, and it's certainly not going to be, necessarily that simple moving forward. So just keep doing what you're doing, collective. You are really killing it, and you're looking amazing while you're doing it, okay? You are getting all the work done that you need to in the background. You are building, you are creating, even if it's by yourself right now, even if you don't have anybody right now, you're still doing it because you've got strength of spirit, you've got character, okay? And I love that. You are an amazing, incredible being, and I am extremely proud of you. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there, and I will see you in the next reading. Bye.